Pixel Perfect is a new series I've dreamt up, looking at some newer, modern titles that adopt a pixelated art style more reminiscent of another era entirely. Too often, I think people either look down on these games, or just outright ignore them for the sake of buying a game that just looks the part. But not only can Pixel Art experiment with their graphics other than photorealism, but they've also got a lot of other things going for them in the gameplay department. World of Horror, well, it's just that. An entire world that is being slowly invaded by grotesque horrors of a bygone era. It's certainly a unique game, a roguelite horror, only matched by The Binding of Isaac, but significantly different in its level of maturity. That's why horror as a term is incredibly vast, as it's funny to suggest that these two games are in the same genre, or subgenre, but have so many interesting differences. Where World of Horror shines is on its distinctive art style that I would argue is wholly unique for the gaming space. Any fans of the popular manga artist Junji Ito will notice the heavy inspiration from his legendary works. A lot of the enemies especially are mostly humanoid or somewhat normal apart from some sort of otherworldly corruption. You won't be up against just normal people, however, as some of them will be blatantly supernatural in their design, mostly found at the combat-based outcome of any given mystery. Unfortunately, there's even more out to get you, as there are larger forces at play to make life even harder. On every playthrough, you'll be governed by an old god who will add additional constraints to your playthrough, such as maybe you can't run from combat encounters. It's an interesting way to ensure from a gameplay perspective that you experiment with the game and all of its mechanics. So, let's review. The world is effectively out to get you, the normal people are out to get you, and the supernatural forces of the world are also converging on you as well. Your objective then is to survive as one of the high schooler characters and guide them through 5 mysteries with your physical and mental health still intact. You'll be exploring, engaging with random events and random encounters that will slowly whittle down your stamina, which is your physical health, and your reason, which is your mental health. If either of your attributes fall to 0, you'll either perish or be locked up in a padded cell. Either way, your game is over, but you're welcome to try again. I think, especially at the start, it is a little difficult to get to grips with, as there's a good amount going on behind the scenes that you may not always be privy to. It might have just been me, but I distinctly remember at the start I did die and lose my mind multiple times. But recently, when I've been playing the game again, I've actually managed to finish multiple playthroughs. Hooray for me! What I failed to mention earlier, and what makes this game different from a roguelike game, is that you can work towards having new items appear in your runs. This is connected to the achievements, and basically your experiences in the game add new and more chaotic items with the chance to appear in your game. I must admit the turn-based combat never really grabbed me. I always just ended up wailing on the enemy with whatever basic weapon I had until it went down, no matter how much punishment my character took. Not that I explored as much, but you can become a magician of sorts with spell combat, or you can recruit your classmates to help you fight as well. Like I said before, the main attraction for this game is its signature art style. The 1-bit pixelated aesthetic in this current generation is no longer the norm, but instead a stylized choice made mostly by indie developers. Glossing over the fact that it's simply easier to make from a financial point of view, the art style is very nostalgic and just screams retro. It makes me think of the Fears to Fathom series, which, although is not pixelated, that graphical style does sincerely enhance the horror experience for those games due to the fact that it's not perfect. The same is true here. The uncanny nature of the creatures already combined with the slow-moving and unrealistic sprites reinforce that something's not quite right. Basically, you've got to be doing something right with your art direction if you're equally as scared and excited to encounter an enemy you haven't laid eyes on before. It goes without saying, I'm a big fan of this game. I'm a massive horror fan, so that's always a big tick, as well as the major replayability factor and the astonishing art style really sell the full package. Whilst the content in early access might not have been overflowing, I do encourage anyone put off by this to come back and give it another try now it's in full release. There are over 20 mysteries in total, each with numerous endings based on the way the story unravels into. As well as this, there's a good amount of love for the game already, so that there's a wealth of mods to jump into, with tailored additional content. I cannot stress enough that this is really a one-of-a-kind pixel horror experience. I think now, more than ever, it's important to shine a light on these kind of games that sometimes miss the limelight. I can assure you that these sort of games will easily outlive the relatively short lifespan of a lot of the new AAA titles that are trying to push for the photorealism graphics of the moment. Graphics such as this look good now and will continue to look good for a long time.